excited to have you. Welcome to the first Mastermind of 2022. It was a phenomenal year of masterminds. And of course, we're looking forward to kicking off this year with a very special guest speaker, which we'll get to in a minute. We have a couple of minutes of housekeeping. Of course, Brad just released the new book, The Hard Way. I'm partway through it. I was telling Brad I really enjoy it. It's a great book. And it's also got, it's got the matte black with the red, which is almost like Run GpG colors. So I was really excited to dig into this just because of the packaging. But anyways, we'll get into that in a minute here. But first off, guys, we got a few new agents to welcome to the GpG, and I have a list here. Of agents to welcome to the brokerage. We have Cameron, we have Raja, we have Crystal, Asan, JC, Arana, and I think there's another one that I'm missing. So I apologize if I'm missing your name. We'll welcome you on the next mastermind. But big round of applause. Welcome to the GpG family. I think that's 5 or 6 new agents at the brokerage. I think the last meeting, we welcomed 14 new agents. I think it was something like that, 14. So we're growing like crazy. And of course, masterminds are a big part of the of what we do here at the Greater Property Group. So anyways, we're going to kick things off with a kind of a video, not kind of a video, it's actually a video of the highlights from last year. We played this at the end of last year, but I don't know how many of us actually got an opportunity to watch this video, and this will set things up nice for today. But this is a highlight reel, a couple minutes here, couple minute highlight reel of the masterminds from 2021. There we go. Here's the highlight reel from 2021. And then following this, we'll get right into it.
Success is not a lack of knowledge. Success is a lack of implementation. We simply don't do the things we already know we should do. So sometimes you have something that you know what you want, you know what you got to do, but you don't do it. That is the conundrum of human nature.
I'm sold logically. If you're not selling logically, it's smoke and mirrors. You have to be logical, pragmatic, and you've got to be able to identify the holes or the pain points of the seller and the buyer. And when you can say that logically, you're closing. Like, it's just so easy.
And what are you doing to develop something that gives you a point of view that says, this is why you want to trust me? Because the moment they walk out the door, they're going to go see another bunch of agents, because I'm sure your properties aren't exclusive.
What I have to say about rejection is the ability to move on the no's, the escrows, they don't happen, on the things, on the doors they slam in your face. The ability to just move on and go to the next one is a big one.
You're dealing with so many difficult things, but the work that you're doing is truly sacred. I mean, you're helping people step up and step into a whole different life. For some people, it might be the first time they've ever owned a home.
When you give people your time and attention, they pay attention, and that's how you build relationships and build rapport with random strangers.
The worst thing that can happen to a transaction is to have people take the time away from it, right? Time is your enemy in sales, typically.
Social media presence. I want everybody to pay attention to this, especially a component being video. Okay, so it's one thing to make posts. People treated Instagram like it was their personal art gallery for a long time. Now we're seeing the power of it in terms of branding and business, right? Now, what's interesting, the most interesting part about this though, is what all these social media platforms are moving towards, and that's video first. They're moving to video first. It's not posts, it's not pictures, it's not carousels, it's video first and video only in some cases.
So I think story is incredibly important, and it's not just about face value. It's not just about the way you look. It's just about everything else. And feel, again, is the most important part of that.
Okay, so I challenge everybody right now that's wearing shoes. Can you feel the shoe that's on your foot right now? Was the shoe always on? Yeah, it was, but you weren't thinking about it. But if I call attention to it, I'm gonna pull it up. Well, guess what? You can only hold 126 bytes worth of data in your conscious mind, because as I started talking, you forgot about your shoe again. So you need to be able to trigger in a customer what's important to them and what comes at them.
If someone else is in control of a deal, you are going to lose on that deal. So number one is you want to be in control at all times. So how are you in control? Starts here. I'm in control. I need to do whatever it takes to get this thing done. The next thing is truly understand that you are trying to influence an outcome. And if you cared about an outcome, then you would do whatever it takes, right?
What's the most important thing, do you think, that sales professionals, entrepreneurs need to focus on going forward, 2021 and beyond?
The most important thing you need to focus on is you. And all of us are where we are today because of the choices we made before today. And if you want something different, something better in your life, you just simply need to start making different choices.
Education is huge for real estate agents. If you can't be funny, which a lot of people can't, and you can't do humor in marketing, education and marketing is what we could provide, because everybody is buying or selling a house at some point. So if you could just give information on rates or what's an appraisal, what's an inspection period, just kind of stuff like that, I really think that that's kind of like the loop into people wanting to work with you.
If I'm going to talk about the business in a little bit more detail, I'm not saying this just to appease you, David and Nathan, but what set us apart and what was instilled in me as a kid was it's all about niche. It's all about changing the game. It's all about finding your own lane. And the reason why I love what GPG are doing, and they haven't plugged me to say this, but this is the reality. We changed the industry in central London because we just went different. And every single part of this business I'm seeing from you guys, you're doing exactly the same thing.
When I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see one of your bloody podcast segments and there's some mad hip hop song, it gets you going. It's like, it's sexy branding, it's sexy logo, it's cool, it's catchy, it's contagious. You're thinking outside of the box, and people are gonna recognize you, they're gonna know you, and they wanna be a part of it, period. That's just the reality.
So what an awesome year, guys. It was an awesome year, fun year of mastermind meetings. And of course, this year is no different. Of course, we're kicking it off with Brad Lea here. Excited to talk with Brad about his new book. He released this new book called The Hard Way. I was lucky enough to get a signed copy, so I'm thankful for that. But anyways, Brad Lea, if you don't know, who's Brad Lea? Many of you may follow Brad already on social media. Brad Lea is a self-made entrepreneur who's been in sales and marketing for over 25 years. He's trained and coached thousands over that time and has developed and refined his training programs to the point where he's now emerged as a world leader in interactive, experience-based training and communication systems through Lightspeed VT, the training program. Additionally, his vision and thought leadership has been instrumental in developing some of today's most productive sales professionals, employees, and learning enthusiasts worldwide. Now, if you follow Brad on social media, you know he's engaging, he's authentic, he's dynamic. Brad, it's a real pleasure and an honor to have you. Welcome here, Brad, to the Mastermind, GPG Mastermind.
Well, thank you, David.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. It was a busy year for you, hey? It was a busy year for you. You have a portfolio of companies, and check this out, everyone, approaching 9 figures, right? A portfolio of companies approaching 9 figures. You had a new baby as well. You had a new child, but more importantly than that, a new book, The Hard Way. So congrats. As I was saying, the book looks great. I'm partway through it. I love the book. So congrats on everything that's happened over the past year and going into 2022. I know you got big plans.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. So I do want to get into the book in a bit more detail. I'm going to open with a quote from the book because I think it sets up our Q&A or discussion nicely. You say in the book, in the introduction to the book, you say the bottom line is, if you want to succeed in life, you must change. Change is inevitable and absolutely necessary to create real success in life. So you talk about change there. Now, we believe that our industry, has changed a lot in the last few years. And of course, as you know, the pandemic has sped up the inevitable in a lot of ways. But the question is, and this is a question I want to start with, has sales or the secrets to successful selling, has that changed at all? Or should sales professionals approach sales the same way they always have? Or has things changed?
Well, it depends on who you ask. But since you're asking me, I would say sales has changed. Mm-hmm. I would say that old school sales training or, content has died off. It's all about relationships now. You're not supposed to be a salesperson. You're supposed to be a help person. Yeah, exactly. So what would you say to somebody who says, my style of selling, or they're paying attention to their style of selling and they say, I don't want to be too salesy. You hear that, right? I don't want to push people. I don't want to be salesy. What do you say to people who don't want to be salesy or promote their personal brand or apprehensive about really getting out there and pushing the growth of their personal brand? What would you say to somebody who says that? Well, I would say they've got a little bit of a insecurity about what they're selling or who they are or what they're trying to accomplish or what their motives are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think it's unethical not to do your best selling somebody the product or service that you have, but that's assuming that you have real belief in what it is you're doing. And if you don't, I would suggest you change.
Yeah. And I think people need to think about, how they're creating a solution to people's problems too. So if you're selling anything, you need to think about how you're helping people, right? Phrase we always use, Brad, is, Zig Ziglar, timid salespeople have skinny kids, timid sales. So your style might change, but remember you're helping people with a solution to their problems. So don't think about being salesy. Now, speaking of personal branding, why is it more important than ever to be authentic, do you think? Especially on, social media. I think a lot of agents, sales professionals, people that are concerned about their personal branding, they're going to be active on social media. And I think a lot of people have made a resolve in 2022 to be more active on social media, shoot videos as we talked about. So why is it important to be authentic and tell it like it is?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you build something based on a facade, it's going to crash eventually. So if you want things to last, then you want to base it on, real, authentic, transparent. And again, I mean, it goes back to where some people are afraid to say certain things. They're worried about being canceled. They're worried about what people might think. So they're more concerned about someone else's opinion rather than their own, which shows me that they need to go build themselves a little bit. If you're going to be on social media, number one, you need to be consistent, right? You need to have enough content out there. And a lot of people are like, well, dude, how do you come up with all the things you talk about? Guys, it's simple, man. You can go see the most Googled search items, the most Googled searched terms, and then talk about what it is they're looking for. And then they'll find you, and then they hear your opinion. But if you don't have an opinion, which most people don't, because they're so worried about everybody else's opinion of their opinion, that they don't have an opinion. So they just be quiet, or they try to say what they think everybody should hear, which is not authentic. They're trying to say what they think everybody, is going to value, rather than just say what they think and don't worry about whether or not it connects. That authenticity, I believe, is the difference between long-term success and short-term success.
Yeah. And to that point, this is actually something you talk about in the book. Again, I'm not through the whole book, but you talk about liking yourself, right? So why is self-worth and confidence so important? How can you work on that? I know you talk about stacking up the wins, for example.
Well, I mean, I think confidence leads to belief, and belief leads to enthusiasm, and enthusiasm leads to deals. So, I mean, you have to believe in yourself. You have to, there's only three things really that you got to focus on this year if you want to crush it. Ready? Mindset, skill set, and habits. You get your mindset right. You get your skill sets down. You get your habits down. Dude, you're unstoppable. Yeah. Francois will crush it.
So listen, when it comes to that, when it comes to self-confidence and working on those three things you talked about, one of the things that's interesting in sales is the topic of rejection, and successful salespeople, they're able to deal with the no's better. They're able to deal with rejection better. So dealing with rejection, what would you say to someone who has a hard time getting over the no's, right?
At the end of the day, if you look at all the people you talk to, and then how many of them you closed, and you take the revenue that you earned from closing the ones that you closed, and you divide that revenue into every one of them that said no, you'll discover that you actually get paid when someone says no. And that's why it's like, who cares about rejection? You're getting paid either way. Like, let's go. You want to make that dough? Okay. More hands you shake, the more money you make. The more no's you hear, the more freaking, your fridge is full of beer.
Nice. Nice. But that's true, right? We've talked about this on the regular, if you are in sales and you deal with any type of lead gen, or, you've got a funnel of some sort, you do have to get through the no's to get to the yes, right? So,
well, dude, listen, just again, let's not make it rocket science. If people are worried about rejection, and a lot of people are because of that insecurity, but if you're worried about rejection, you have to realize you're not being rejected. You just have to dilute the revenue from the yeses and include the no's. So if you talk to 100 people, you make $10,000 because you close 10 of them. Well, you talked to 100, you made $10,000. How much did you make per person? Anybody quick with the math?
Not enough.
$100 bill.
Yeah.
So if you knew every time you heard a no, you got a $100 bill, how many no's would you be looking for? As many as you could find, and rejection wouldn't bother you one iota.
Yeah.
And if you just allow that to penetrate the old kidneys and apply that throughout this year, your sales are going to go up. Your attitude's going to go up. Your freaking sense of joy is going to go up. Why? Because, dude, rejection is not going to affect you whatsoever. You're going to know you're getting paid regardless of their answer.
Yep, exactly. No, absolutely, man. That's a good way of looking at it.
Although, allow me to continue. You get paid more when they say yes. So if you're understanding that, then you want to, seek development and start to learn how to identify and isolate objections so you can get past them. Because if you want to get past an objection, it's very simple. You identify and isolate the real objection. See, most people, they identify an objection and then they go to work on it, and that's not even the real objection. They just threw that bullshit out there.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. You're bang on there. Now, before we talk about like goal setting and setting up the year for success specifically, we do have some new agents here. They're starting a new career. And it may seem like they're taking a risk, right? Like it's a new career. That's something they haven't done before. They're getting into sales. Why is taking a leap of faith and getting out of your comfort zone so important in terms of success? And what should you be started on, or what should you be focused on when you start a new career?
Well, again, I could give you a philanthropic or a philosophical answer. But at the end of the day, the more hands you shake, the more money you make. If you just got started, you can blow past people that have been doing it for years.
Yep.
Just by not being afraid, just by realizing that you're, there for a purpose. And you need to embrace that purpose on a regular basis. When you wake up in the morning, dude, be enthusiastic, get ready to rock and roll, outwork everybody else, have the best attitude, have the right mindset, have the right skill set, and then have the right habits. Habits are prospecting, follow up, ask if you're, for referrals. A lot of people don't even ask for referrals. And if they do it poorly. Mm-hmm. So, at the end of the day, I could talk forever about, what type of things are going to double someone's income. But the main thing is the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Yep.
How many of you intentionally meet 5 new people per day? Put your thumb up. Intentionally. It looks like there's only 3 bullshiters in the crowd. Very, very rarely do I see people intentionally go out of their way that day to meet 5 new people at least. Again, if you're in a selling situation where they're coming to you left and right and you're meeting people all day, then you would put your thumb up because, I meet 5 new people every day. But I'm talking about intentionally, meaning after your job, after you're done doing what it is you do, I need to meet 5 new people. Now, how do I meet 5 new people, especially in Canada when you guys are locked down tighter than a bull's ass at fly time? Guess what? You got to get online. You got to make a post. When you make a post, you're connecting with somebody. You got to get on Clubhouse. That's where you'll find Mr. Morel half the time.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Real estate is a relationship business. Like we know that. So I think that point, the more hands you shake, the more money you make. It's so applicable in a business like real estate, an industry like real estate. I think that's super important. And also too, I talk to a lot of new agents and you don't want to focus on what if I fail, right? You want to, success is always on the other side of your comfort zone. We all know that.
Dude,
right?
you don't even consider failure as an option. Like there's no way to fail, guys. The question is how long is it going to take you to get it? That's the only question. Mm-hmm. And if you're listening and paying attention, if you're brand new to this game, trust me when I tell you, dude, it boils down to relationships. Who knows you? And if you're not known, get known. How do you get known? By putting yourself out there. Where were you yesterday? Who'd you talk to? Who'd you introduce yourself? What'd you say when you did introduce yourself? How can you spark a conversation? How can you nurture a relationship? How good are you at identifying and isolating objections? How good are you at building value in your product? At the end of the day, folks, if you want to make an exchange, you just have to build the value of your product or service above the value of their money.
Mm-hmm.
An exchange happens every single time you do that. So if you're showing a house and you don't sell it, it's because the value of that house did not exceed the value of their money. End of story. So if you realize that, now you go into this thing a little bit differently. Now you're thinking, okay, how do I find out from this individual what they value? And then how do I apply my product, which happens to be a house in this case, to address those values? And then you raise that value above the value of their money, and an exchange happens every time. Sometimes you're showing the wrong house. How many of you guys have to freaking show 100 houses and you've got a prick client that doesn't like any of them? It's like, holy dude. Well, guess what? That's because you don't know your client very well. Okay, why don't you talk to the client, get to know the client, figure out what the client truly values, and only find inventory that matches. Why are you wasting them time showing them houses that they don't like? Were you not listening?
Yeah.
Crystal?
Listen, absolutely true. I think that's why, we value unique selling propositions so much, right? You have to, we say it all the time. Cost is only a factor in the absence of value. People will question the cost. They don't see the value. So you got to provide value. Okay. I do want to ask you about this because you're really good at this. Can you touch on the importance of motivation, mindset, goal setting for the new year? Why is that so important? What should we be doing?
Well, buddy, I tell you, I hear all the goal setting nonsense that's out there, and, write down your goals and yada, yada, yada. And I used to think, man, that's a bunch of nonsense. If you can't remember your goals, they're not big enough. Like, raise the goals up and then you can't forget them. You don't need to write them down and look at them every day. But in reality, if you do write them down and look at them every day, your writing and your reading causes you to think just automatically, if that's a word. Like automatically, just writing them down and focusing on them on a daily basis. What you focus on grows. Okay. What you ignore dies. So if you're not focused on your goals and you're not writing them down every day and you're not even figuring out what they are, dude, you're at a big disadvantage. You have to focus on them every single day, because what you focus on will grow and what you ignore will die. So what is it that you want, first of all? Because most people don't even know what they want. People always ask me, Brad, what's the key to success? And I say, there's no key. It's a combination. And everybody's got their own. See, and if you worry about what I think successful and you run out and achieve that success and all of a sudden you still feel empty, that's why. Because you set your level of success or opinion of success on somebody else's thoughts and opinions or society's presumptions as to what they should be, when in reality, it's only because you didn't focus on your own. You didn't actually ask yourself, what the hell do I want? And then when you say, this is what I want, write that shit down and then read it every day. This is what I want. God damn it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go get it today. And I'm going to meet people, and everything I do, every action I take, every thought that goes forward is based on the attainment of that goal. It's all about time management, folks. Are you wasting time or investing time? Well, if you don't even know what the hell you're doing, you don't even know where you want to go, what are you doing all day? Well, you're just randomly shooting or investing time in random shit, hoping to get somewhere. Well, where if you laid out exactly where you want to go, every thought in your head is, I got to get here. How do I get here? I'm talking to this person. How does that person help me get here? I got to get here. What's going on? I got to get here. I ain't got time for that. I got to get here. Holy shit, I got to get here. And you have that urgency and that focus and that drive, dude. You just freaking like a magnet, boys, like a magnet.
I agree with you. And as you get a little older, like we are, Brad, a little long in the tooth, get a little bit more intentional.
Who's we? You got a turd in your pocket?
Oh, come on, Brad. I'm
only 53, Chief.
Yeah, that's old. It's old. But that's what happens, right? You need to be a little bit more intentional with your time, a lot more intentional in some cases, right? But especially in real estate, you're a sole proprietor, you're an entrepreneur, you're running your own business. So you need to think about your structure and time. And some people come from corporate backgrounds and they get into this new industry, and they're not, structure is not a thing that they think about too much. So I think that's such a good point, to get intentional with your time as it relates to your goal setting. So I think that's really important. Now, I do want to ask you about this. So in the book, again, The Hard Way, you do talk about, the first chapter is actually really interesting because you talk about being impatient. And I want to ask you about this, being impatient. You say amplify your actions, intentions, and intensity when it comes to goals. Why is being patient not a virtue?
Well, unless you're a doctor, dude, you don't need patience when it comes to building your dreams. Okay. Trust me when I tell you, like when people say have patience, it's only because they don't have any other answers to give you. You know, just be patient. What the hell does that mean? If you even look up the definition of patience, it means to accept trouble, challenge, or delay without getting upset. Who the hell wants to do that? If you do the opposite of patience and quit believing that, hey, it takes patience, it doesn't take patience, folks. It takes the opposite of patience. It takes intensity. It takes fucking raising your level of activity beyond what you thought you could do. It's not about being patient. You know, this ain't cooking grits on the stove. Like, you know, you got to be patient in some cases, of course. If you're out on a date and the girl says, hey, let me slip into something more comfortable. Well, by all means, be patient. Okay. But at the end of the day, when it comes to getting what you want, get pissed off that you don't already have it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you are behind. I don't care how old you are behind, folks. Look in your bank account. You ain't even a tenth of the way there, and you've been alive how long?
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there looking there. Well, you know, it takes time. My dad told me to have patience. No, your dad didn't know what the to tell you. So he said, have patience. Don't have patience, folks. Get pissed off, get animated, get excited, get enthusiastic, focus, go. You're behind.
Yeah.
Patience, my ass.
Well, it's an interesting thought, right? When we talk about goal setting. So impatience as it relates
Hey,
to
by the
goal
way,
setting.
am I going to make next year highlight reel, fool?
Yeah, I think there's a clip that, you know, didn't have a curse word in it. So I think so. So, I listen.
I haven't cussed once.
Okay. Okay. You did mention habits. So I want to ask you about this. You talk about the essential 8, and then in that you talk about habits. So why is being successful all about habits? And can you tell us about maybe a habit you have or a daily routine? I know there's something specific you do in the morning that I think is really valuable.
Well, again, I mean, habits are just consistent, actions. Mm-hmm. So that it is what it is. Like, why are habits so important? Because they're consistent actions. Mm-hmm. And consistent actions are what get you where you're going. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So every day you wake up, the choices that you make determine the road that you take, and the actions that you take determine everything. And those are just simple choices. If you break it down to simplicity, like, let's not make this hard. You wake up in the morning, you've got choices from the second you open your eyes. Mm-hmm. Are you pissed off or are you happy? Are you fretting the day or are you freaking excited for the day? Mm-hmm. Like, I wake up at 5 a.m., boom, my eyes open. Obviously, my body's gotten enough sleep or my eyes wouldn't have opened. Your body's a pretty miraculous device. Okay, listen to it. At the end of the day, I don't set an alarm clock or anything. Sometimes I wake up at 3:45. Guess what? Boom. As soon as my eyes open, obviously my body's had enough sleep or it wouldn't have opened its eyes. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I do is I'm appreciative that the eyes opened. Like, I get another day, man. This is unbelievable. I call it the $1 million morning, because if you just pretend that you got $1 million cash, you would feel all this enthusiasm and excitement, right? I mean, just picture someone handing you $1 million, no strings attached. It's real, guys. You can go pay rent. You can go buy a house. You can freaking pay off bills. It's real. That feeling that you're imagining right now. When we wake up in the morning, we don't do that. And it makes no sense, because every one of you would rather wake up tomorrow than get $1 million cash. Am I right, Francois? Who would argue with me, Chris? Would you rather not wake up tomorrow or get $1 million today? No, hell no. Which means waking up is worth more than $1 million cash. And if you keep raising it up, it's like, dude, it's worth $100 million. Well, how would you feel if you got $100 million? Why can't you match that enthusiasm? Why can't you match that emotion? because the emotion causes the vibration, and that's what sets the tone for all the decisions throughout the day. You wake up freaking enthusiastic. You jump out of bed. Now you focus on 4 things. You focus on your health, because without that, you're screwed. Trust me when I tell you, there's another thing. Like there's billionaires sitting terminally in a hospital, give up all their money to feel good again. There's people in a wheelchair, they'll give all their money to be able to walk again, to be able to walk on a treadmill, to be able to elevate their heart rate with their legs. So you got to realize that, right? I used to say I'd pissed off because I couldn't get new shoes, and then I met a man with no feet. Like at the end of the day, guys, you wake up, focus on your health. Now, how do you focus on your health? And then you hear all the excuses, by the way. I mean, like everyone's a millionaire. You got a million excuses or you got $1 million, but we're all millionaires. The question is which one do you want? Because you can't have both. But at the end of the day, man, you focus on your health by moving your body, by elevating your heart rate. I hear, well, eating healthy is expensive. No, eating is expensive. You got to get up every morning and elevate that heart rate, even if you can't afford a gym membership. Then jump up and down, run in place. It doesn't matter. Do push-ups. At the end of the day, you got to get that heart rate elevated every single day. Not I rest on Sundays. You ain't God. At the end of the day, man, get your ass up and get that elevated heart rate. Number 2, you got to remember that relationships are the key. So you want to focus on 5 people you're going to send a message to that day just to build a relationship. And you'll start to get in the habit of reaching out to people on a regular basis. And next thing you know, you'll double your income, and you won't even realize how you did it. And how you did it was you just focused on relationships. The more people you know, the more opportunities you'll have. If you know 4 people in Montreal versus someone who knows 40,000 people in Montreal, who do you think is going to have more opportunities? Mm-hmm. So you focus on relationships. This is before you even get out of freaking bed. I mean, you get out of bed, you freaking hit the gym or hit the health thing, and then you move on to relationships. You focus on that. Then you move on to the third one, which is focus on 5 things that are going to drive revenue today. And then you pick up a book and read for 20, 30 minutes. You get new information in your head. Because if you want something different, you have to do something different. And the only way you're going to do anything different is if you believe different shit. Because you do what you do based on your beliefs. So how do you change your beliefs? Well, you change your beliefs by getting new information to consider. Mm-hmm. If you don't get any new information, it is impossible for you to change your belief. The only way to change a belief is to receive new information, is to consider the information that you've received and change your mind. And that's what you want to do. If you're not happy where you are, you want more, you got to do more. Well, whatever it is you currently believe is why you do what you do. So you want to change what you believe, seek new information every single day. So I just pick up a book. Like this book right here, guaranteed change your freaking life if you apply what's in it. And it may not change your life, but it'll improve your life for sure. There's no question about it. Why? Well, because those are the lessons I learned the hard way. And looking back, dude, I got 20/20 vision like it's freaking like I'm a super freaking hero. So at the end of the day, you're going forward. If you look down and see 2 footprints, those are mine because I've been there and done that. And at the end of the day, if you had the opportunity to go talk to some 14-year-old kid, what do you think you'd have for that person if they would listen to you? They would have a much easier time in life. Mm-hmm. And that's the key with getting this new information. There's people out there that wrote books. You don't have to accept the information, but seek it. So if you do that every morning, those are the habits that will set you up for success. Now, again, this is before you even leave your house. This is just bam, wake up with the gratitude of freaking getting another day. Focus on your health real quick. Focus on relationships real quick. Figure out 5 things that are going to drive revenue. Don't go to bed until you achieve them. And then pick up a book and read some. Turn on a Mastermind video. Go into the archives. Freaking listen to a podcast. Just get some new information in your head, and then you're ready to go to work.
Fantastic. That's a morning routine, everyone. And that's why habits are so important, right? Success leaves clues. As we said, Brad, a portfolio of companies that are very successful. The new book, of course, great summary. This is all talked about in the book. Again, fantastic book. I'm partway through. Get your copy. Amazon, is that where you want people to get the book, Brad?
Wherever you get books. Hey, read the dedication for them.
Okay, yeah. Do you want me to read the dedication? Because it's a little bit unusual. Yeah, it's the dedication says this: I dedicate this book to the only two people that matter, me for writing it and you for reading it.
Period. I'm talking to whoever I'm supposed to be talking to. Because if you ain't read it,
yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you very much, Brad, for joining us this morning. I super appreciate you jumping on. Again, it's The Hard Way, Amazon, wherever you get books. Follow Brad on social media. One of the most authentic, real feeds. It's an entertaining feed, obviously, on social media. I mean, his social media is blown up. The guy's like, it's crazy. So anyways, thanks again for joining us, Brad. Really appreciate your time today. Really do, man. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for Brad. You can unmute and give a big round of applause if you want.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
it, guys. See you, man.
All right, bro. See ya.